want me to keep blue on this side? Okay. You got it. Normally does. Sometimes I'm exciting. Matt, send that text message. You can sneak them all in here right now. Okay, yeah. She can sneak in right here.
Tell Bermudez to come in here, too.
You can sit on any one of these.
Gate was 650,000. Attendance was 15,008. The bonuses were $60,000. Fight of the night is Cerrone versus Gallard. Knockout of the night is Cerrone, and sub of the night is Bermudez. They won 60,000. Well, 120 and 60,000. Good night for Cerrone. We almost gave him the submission too. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Dana, I guess, can you start us out and talk to us? How did you score the main event? What do you think about the decision? Seems to be a lot of controversy right now.
Yeah, it's again, you know, it's one of those controversial decisions. And you know, let me just say this: I'm not a judge, okay? I'm not a judge. Ben Henderson won the fight tonight. He retained his title, and that's the end of it. You know, I know there are a lot of people that scored the fight differently, but I tell these guys all the time, if you don't like the way the judges score, don't let it get there. Don't let it get there.
So even with the controversy and the close nature of the fight, we still go forward with Nate Diaz. He's still the guy getting the next shot.
Yep, Nate Diaz is getting the next shot.
And I guess last thing on this, would the talk be in the passive? We always have to talk about Frankie at 145, but this type of fight, did it prove that he really maybe can stay at 155?
He's always proved that he can stay at 155. You know, there's never been a case where Frankie's not good enough to be at 55. He's not tough enough to be at 55. He's not talented enough to be at 55, or that he's not even big enough to be at 55. I just think at 145 he's a monster. But he likes 55. He wanted this fight bad. We gave it to him, you know, because I respect him so much, and he went out and he fought his ass off tonight.
And just one last one quickly, if I could, Frankie. Obviously, I know you were a little upset immediately afterwards, but now you had a chance to process it a little bit. What are your thoughts on the decision? Can you see where the judges are coming from, or do you feel like they really got it wrong?
Yeah, you know, I mean, it don't really matter what I think at this point. You know, I could, you know, be pissed off, but it's you know, he still got decisions. It's never going to change. It's just what it is.
Dana, what did Benson ask you after the fight, and what did you answer him?
He said, who won this fight? And I said, I'm not a judge. He said, seriously, tell me who won this fight. I said, I'm not a judge, bro. He asked me the same thing. And I said, I'm not a judge. And he said, fuck you, be real with me. Who won this fight?
Dana, did you think at all, did the word draw come into your head when you went to the scorecards?
I had the fight even going into the last round. I had it even going into that last round.
Frankie, over here, did you think you did enough to win the fight, you know, with the takedowns and you know, landing some good shots too?
Yeah, I did. I did think I did enough. I felt I pushed the pace. I felt I brought the fight to him, you know. But here we are.
Question for Donald. Congrats on the win. So I'll ask you this question, and then I'll ask Dana, even though I know you don't like to answer these questions right away, Dana. But you think this sets you up with Anthony Pettis? Are you looking forward to that next?
Yeah, I mean, that's a fight I definitely would like is Pettis, but fucking Denver, man, I loved it. It was awesome being here. Damn. Loved it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Dana, what do you think about that fight? Donald fighting Anthony possibly in his next fight?
Yeah, I like it.
Let's sign it
Sounds
today.
like a great idea.
For Cerrone also, how hurt were you in that first round before you turned it around?
I was extremely hurt, especially the knee to the body. It really took everything in me to just fight through it and keep going, man. That was probably to date the worst I've ever been injured in a fight, and I mean, just sucking it up and trying to keep my composure and keep going is all I could think.
And could you see how badly that kick hurt him?
Frankly, I thought I just grazed the top of him, so I didn't realize I connected as well as I did. So thankfully I did, and followed with the right hand. So that was, in training, that's what I was working on. He drops his hand and fades off that way a lot, so we were training that a lot.
Question for Frankie. He had you in a couple of guillotines, particularly in the end of the first round, and you the bell kind of looked like it might have saved you a little bit. How tight was that?
For 1 minute.
Yeah, it was. It was tight, but I was able to get out of it. I don't think the round saved me. I think I defended well, but it was tight at first, and I felt I made the adjustment to get out of it.
And did you feel like you had to make adjustments, and what kind of adjustments did you make as the fight kind of wore on?
Just listen to my corner. I felt it was definitely a technical fight between me and Ben. He's a good fighter, so little adjustments here and there.
Thanks.
For Jake. Jake,
Just a little argument outside. That's all. A couple guys arguing. Yeah.
I think it was a draw.
For Jake, how did you feel coming back to middleweight tonight?
I felt good. I still think I need to put on a little more weight. I only had that for 4 or 5 months, so I got about halfway where I need to be. If I'm going to stay here, I need to put on about another solid 5 pounds to be able to compete with these big guys.
How did you feel about your performance as far as how you did in the ring?
So. I think Herman's a really tough, underrated guy, and I was happy to beat him. I'm bummed I didn't finish him, of course. The altitude was getting me a little bit. I had to pace myself a little more than I wanted to, but I started feeling it a little that first round, so I had to slow down a little bit, but then I was able to suck it back up and start moving. So I just need to go work, keep working on things.
As successful as you were over in Strikeforce at middleweight, do you have any feelings from that as far as if that can carry over now into the UFC and you can make a run?
Yeah, when I first fought middleweight in Strikeforce, every fight I got a little bit stronger. So I think if I get another 4 or 5 months to bulk up, I'll be a true. Right now I'm kind of undersized middleweight, but I'll be able to put on another 5-6 pounds, and I'll be strong as these guys, and hopefully I can fight someone who's a top contender and get my name back closer to the mix.
Question for Donald Cerrone. I noticed after you had knocked him down with the strike, you were coming in, and it appeared that you said something to him. You said something into his ear. You had an opportunity to strike him there, and it was an honorable finish. The ref was slightly out of position. I was wondering if you could share that with us.
I mean, there's a lot of things people are asking, is it going to be hard to finish a teammate? And I would say no until you're actually there and have that finishing blow. And, yeah, it's very hard, So instead I went for the finishing blow, was going in for the choke just to because it is hard. So I didn't really say anything other than sorry, brother.
And one follow-up. Was there just knowing each other so well, was there anything that you predicted that he might be bringing at you that he actually did?
Yeah, he came out very explosive and very dangerous, just like I thought he would. And I think I came in too amped up, and but whatever, that's things I got to work on. But yeah, he came out and hit me hard, just like I figured he would.
Thank you.
Question for you, Dana. Besides, talking about Frankie going to 145, several of the guys on the card tonight were making their debut at 145. So is this a conscious effort for you? Are you asking fighters to try to drop to that weight and try to flesh out that division a little more?
No, I just think the guys that have been fighting at higher weights or should be at a certain weight, this is a contact sport, and if you're in your own, I like guys being in their own weight class, but it's up to them. I mean, I don't think there's ever been a real public situation with anybody like there has been with me and Frankie, and it's not because I don't, like I said, it's not because I don't think Frankie can be there and is talented enough. It's just I think he'd be a beast at 45, and I like the kid, you know what I mean, and I'd like to see him fight at 45. So.
And just a general question for Yushin Okami. Just curious how you're feeling to get a win again. It's been a little bit of time, and how you feel about your performance tonight and reestablishing yourself in your division.
試合に勝利することからちょっと分かっていたので、久しぶりに勝ったことに関して、また勝利から歩み 教えてください。
本当に久しぶりの勝利で、今までの勝利の中で多分一番嬉しかったと思います。この勝利をきっかけにまた上のステージで勝負していきたいと思ってます。
Yes, you are right. I have been kind of away from victory, so this is one of the most grateful fight in my career. So from now, I like to start working towards the top again.
Thank you.
Question for Dana.
Yep.
Following up on Karen, if Frankie does go to 45, does he get an immediate title shot?
No, I think Frankie'd have to fight somebody at 45, and we got that thing backed up. We got all these backed up titles right now. That one's backed up, and if I know Frankie like I do, I'm sure he's going to want to go in there and fight right away. So, again, these are things that I'm not telling Frankie to go to 45 or anything like that. Talk to him later and see what he wants to do.
And Cowboy, a question for you. What are you going to do with the check?
I'm gonna pay my taxes. As funny as that sounds, I owe a little bit of money, so I gotta hand that right to him.
It's a good idea.
Question for Ben Henderson over here. You were having some pretty good success with the lower kicks, the leg kicks to the calf early on, first couple of rounds, but you kind of went away from it later on. Was it conscious effort that you did that? Was that on purpose, or was that part of the original game plan?
That was a part of the original game plan going forward. We wanted to target that, get him off balance, and then capitalize, take advantage of that. I did not do a good enough job of capitalizing and getting on top of him when he was off balance. I think I landed it, 3 or 4 times, something like that. He was off balance and stumbled a little bit, and I wasn't able to quite do what we wanted to do with it.
A couple questions for Donald. Donald, you seemed really pleasant when you were walking to the octagon. I mean, you were smiling. I think you greeted Melvin. Was that just kind of a product of getting to fight here in Denver?
Yeah, the feeling was unbelievable, man. I mean, I fought here numerous times, and this is the most energy I've ever felt. So I wanted to just stop and do a whole circle and just wait there for a minute. But it was unbelievable. So yeah, I loved it.
Is it safe to say if you get that Pettis fight next, we may see a little more spiteful coming out, a little more, I guess, what we're used to seeing you like?
Yeah, I got to try and control my emotions. When I fight out of emotion, it doesn't end up too well. So I'm gonna just stay away from all the crap talking. We did what we had to do. The fight's gonna get signed, so sign, train hard, and I'll see you when I see you. Other than that, we don't need to talk about it, right?
Benson, the fact that you asked Dana after the fight who won, does that mean you didn't think you did enough to win, or you were just unsure of how it was going to come out?
He asked me who I thought won after he won.
Okay. Do you think you did enough? Were you unsure, or were you just confident that you'd done enough?
No, I definitely felt I did enough to get my hand raised, earn the victory. I was just want to make sure the big guy over here, I wanted to see how he had it the last time. He had it going the other way.
That's what I figured. That's what I figured.
I just wanted to see.
Question. Go ahead.
My question is for Frankie. I know it's going to take a little time to process, but is your immediate thought like you would want to get back another title shot against Benson?
I doubt I'm moving on. I mean, Dana ain't gonna give me another title shot. I'll tell you that much.
And to Dana, who do you think won the 5th round?
I had it even going into the 5th round. I'm not a judge. You know what I mean? And like you said, last time I came out and I gave my decision. It's not fair. He won twice. I'm not a judge, no matter who I think won that 5th round. If I think it was him or I think it was him, he did it twice. He's the champion. That's the end of the story.
Frankie, as disappointing as it is, are you happy with your performance? The fight was awesome. Both you
Yeah,
guys
I
were
am.
great.
I felt I improved from last time. I thought I did enough to win. And, I mean, a lot of people told me that they thought they won. A lot of people, but it don't matter. The judges didn't.
That's why I always say, man, if you don't want to be sitting in here going, I think I won that fight, you cannot leave it in the hands. There's been, this was a close fight. I had this fight even going into the last round. And it's one of those fights, it's like, you got to take them out of it, man. If you don't, one of you is going to be sitting here bummed out. You know what I mean?
For Benson, obviously coming into this fight, you were openly critical of yourself in your past 2 fights, saying you didn't really like those performances. You weren't the best. You said you did enough to win tonight, but are you happy with the fight? Are you happy with the execution? What lessons did you take out of this fight?
For me, I guess the biggest thing I was disappointed in myself with was I didn't push the pace enough. I wasn't tired at all. The Denver fighting high elevation, I felt we did enough to train and be prepared for it. I didn't get tired, so we obviously did a good job of preparing for the elevation, but I should have pushed the pace a lot more. I could have pushed the pace a lot more. My coaches were yelling at me in between rounds, push the pace, push the pace. You can turn up another level. You can turn up the volume. Let's go, Henderson. Time to turn it up. And I was kind of lethargic. I didn't turn it up as much as I should have.
And obviously, both of you guys are going to move on right now. But with how close this fight was, how close the last one was, do you ever envision a day where you'd like to fight with them again, or do you feel like, hey, 2-0 is 2-0 and I'm done?
Well, Cowboy and I are, we've danced a couple of times. I know I'm gonna see Cowboy again. I know that. I know he's coming hard. So Frankie, I'm sure, he has a heart of a champion. He's a great guy. He's a great fighter. You guys counting him out. I want to do that. So him and I seeing each other again. Who knows? It might happen.
For Henderson, can you talk a little bit about your faith and what it means at a time like this?
For me, it just allows me to put stuff in perspective. Like, I love winning. I cannot stand losing. But if I were to lose tonight, it's cool, I have a Savior up above who loves me, and I know that life is going to be okay. Sun's going to rise tomorrow. We're going to eat some French toast tomorrow morning, and it's all good. It's not that big a deal. The world has not ended. And for me, my faith allows me to embrace life like that. That's where it comes through the most.
Question, Dana. In a fight like this where you have two guys that are so evenly matched and, so small things, when you make the comment about, don't leave it in the hand of the judges, are you saying you want the guys to take risks that, maybe aren't there because they seem to be so close that, like, what could they have done differently that they didn't do?
No clue. It's up to them. You know what I mean? I'm always the guy everybody's looking at when the fight's over. It's not up to me, man. All my work is done the minute these guys step up in there. It's all them then, I'm the one that gets all the heat and gets all the, back and forth from both camps and all the people, but it's in their hands when they go in there, no matter what the answer is. I don't know what the answer is with guys that are just evenly matched, but it's true. You just don't want to be the guy up here saying, I thought I won it, either way, whether it happens on either side.
And Ben, I wonder if you can comment, Frankie's elusiveness. It seemed like, he fought you, a lot of great movement, and his footwork seemed to be difficult. How much did that play into the fight, and did it make it difficult for you to maybe, get your hands on him?
Yeah, I think the more I think about it now, the more I replay the fight in my head a little bit. I think his elusiveness, backing away and stuff, allowed me to not be as aggressive as I wanted to be as far as me pushing the pace and going forward and wanting to, let's get after it a little bit. His elusiveness, his footwork is awesome footwork. He works on it all the time. He gets better every fight with his footwork, his spacing and distance. That allowed me to not do what I wanted to do. First couple rounds, I landed some good low kicks, got him off balance, and then he adjusted. The last 3 rounds, he did a great job and did not allow me to go with those low kicks anymore. He did a good job with his elusiveness there.
Yeah, Ben, what were your thoughts going into the 5th round, and did you think you were ahead?
I thought I was ahead. I thought that, maybe at worst it was even, and I had to win the 5th round. Again, I have the exact same sentiments as Mr. White over here. Can't leave it in the judges' decisions. You can't. You never know. I've seen some. You guys have seen some very suspect, judges' decisions. So anytime you leave it in the judges' decision, doesn't matter how bad you beat the guy up. You never know. You never know. And close as our fight was, I just knew that I had to get after that 5th round and go get him. That was it, for that 5th round.
Ben Henderson touched on this already, and it really doesn't apply to Cowboy, but if anyone else would like to extrapolate, how did fighting at altitude affect you? Did you do any special training, or did you feel anything different, or was it just another night in the octagon?
I did a little special training. I went upstate New York, swam across the Hudson River and back. Then I biked 40 miles up the Hunter Mountain and ran 8 miles up a mountain and back down. So I went from sea level to 4,000 feet in one day. But being here, it didn't really affect me. It was like another day in the octagon, but maybe my training made it that way.
Overachiever.
Yeah, so I don't get it.
Can I have a follow-up with Dennis? Where was the after party you announced?
This is a question for you, Benson. You sort of talked a little bit about Frankie's footwork. I noticed during the fight you switched your stance constantly. So is that by design? You thought that would help you sort of figure out his footwork, or did you think that was an advantageous thing for you to do tonight?
It was more just an advantageous thing for us to do as far as keeping him off balance. We wanted to keep him guessing, keep him off balance. We knew he was going to have great footwork. We wanted my footwork to confuse him a little bit, to make his going forward hesitate just a second, to allow me to do what I want to do.
But do you think that hindered your ability then to press the action and then?
No, I don't think it hindered, because that's what we practice. We practice switching stance. We practice going to a couple of different stances and throwing them off, and then going forward, being aggressive like that. So I'm fine in practice doing it. It's another thing when you step in there against a guy like Frankie EDGAR and how tough he is. It threw me off a little bit.
Yeah. And then just lastly, how close were some of his chokes? He obviously looked to be very close a couple of times.
No, the chokes weren't close at all. They were like,
dude. No?
he's come close a couple times.
Yeah.
But the chokes were on my chin. They weren't under my chin at all. They were right here. I was actually a little bit surprised. I was expecting him to let go and fire off with his hands a little bit. That would have worried me more than actually getting choked. But
okay, thanks.
Yeah, no problem, Karen.
Hey Ben, thoughts on Nate next fight?
Sorry.
Yeah, but just what in the middle there.
Thoughts
Yeah.
on Nate?
Oh.
Just your thoughts going into your next fight now.
God bless him. It's gonna be a fun fight. I know he likes to go into his fights and get guys worked up in the head a little bit and stuff. So him, his camp, everybody involved in that 209 stuff. God bless him. And my hat's off to him. He's a tough fighter. When we get inside that cage, I'm anxious. I'm excited to get inside that cage also. There's a long list of guys. I have a bullseye on my back. Let's go. Let's bring it. Let's do it.
We'll take one more. Anybody got one more? Go ahead, buddy.
Thank you. For Henderson, you're known for some fairly unique characteristics, flexibility, very difficult to submit. But one thing, you touched on it, and you've just gone through another 5-round war, yet aesthetically, you took some shots, yet aesthetically, you don't look like you've taken much damage. I see maybe a little scratch under the right eye, possibly a little mark, tiny little mark. But what do you attribute that to? Is that something you've always just kind of noticed about yourself, or do you feel you've never been actually really hurt?
No, this guy over here, he caught me in my eye with the up kick and gave me a huge black eye. Almost lost my eye because of that. No, I take damage the same as everybody else. I really don't like getting hit in the face, so I try and avoid that as much as possible. That's the key.
All right, you guys. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. Have a good night.
I'll take that from you. Thank you.
Thank you.